In this video we're going to look at Boolean search in Artful Text. Boolean search is just a means of applying commands to the database to tell it to include different words in the search, to either expand on your search to make sure it's as comprehensive as possible, or to also make it more specific so that you're only getting up the articles that are specifically about what it is you want to research. For this example, I'm going to use the word mythology, and we're going to pretend that I'm going to do some work on mythology and religion. I could do a simple search for mythology, and that is going to bring me 3,800 results. But if we look through, we can see where the word mythology is coming up in these articles by looking for what's bold. But after a while of doing some research and some sifting, I might decide that actually, if I'm looking at mythology, the scope of my research also extends to legends and folk tales as being in the same category. So in order to make sure I'm bringing up those as well, I can use the OR function. What this is going to do is it's going to tell the database to look for any articles that either have the word mythology in, or that could have the word folktale in, or that could have the word legend in. So that will increase our results, because just now we've looked for anything that's got the word mythology in. We're now going to add to that anything that has the word folktale in, and we're also going to add to that anything that has the word legend in. So you can see here that we've got 7,000 results now. But I want to do research on mythology and religion, and if I look through these, to be honest, I'm not seeing much that's specifically on those things. So what I can do here is I can use the AND function. And for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to keep it just to mythology, and then we're going to look at a more complex search. But let's say we put in just mythology and religion, and note that if we're using and or, we put the and the or in capital letters. This search here is going to look for any articles that have got both the word mythology in them as well as the word religion. So anything coming up in our results must have both words in them. This will decrease the number of results. So just mythology by itself had 3,800 results. We're expecting to see less than that here because we're being more specific about what we want. So you can see here that we've now got 377 results, and that the results we're getting are much more specific and do mention both words. So the important thing to note is then we've looked at the OR function to increase the number of results, we've looked at the AND function to make the search more specific. You can start to use these together. What I don't recommend is to use them all in the same line like this. The reason being that databases, particularly when you start to get fancier and use more vocabulary like this, databases can then interpret your search in different ways. For example, if we make this a little simpler, the database could interpret it as we want by doing this. It could look for any articles that talk about mythology or legends, and then it could go through those results and pick the ones that also refer to religion. So what we would end up with is a pile of results that talk about either mythology or legends, but also talk about religion. But the database could also potentially do this. It could look for any articles that talk about mythology, and then it could add to that pile any articles that mention both legends and religion. This would kind of skew our results a little bit because we wouldn't be getting any of the articles about mythology and religion. We'd just be getting everything there is about mythology. So the way to avoid this is to keep your vocabulary that talks about the same concept on the same line. So if we plot out all of our mythology concepts here, we've got mythology or legend or folk tale here. And anything to do with religion or God, we could say, or spirituality, for example. This tells the database very clearly that we are looking for any article that includes one of these words, but those articles must also, using the AND connector here, include one of these words. So that makes it clear to the database how to prioritize the search. So if we do this search, this should bring us back something a little bit more specific, but maybe not quite so many results as if we put all the ors in. So we should get the best of both worlds here. And you can see we've got 751 results. And if we look at the content, all of the content at least includes both a God religion concept as well as a mythology concept. And obviously a little bit more tweaking would need to occur in order to make this a particularly useful search. You can also, don't forget, use the phrase searches. You can also, don't forget, use truncation and wildcards to improve your search and to include even more specific and relevant vocabulary. So the takeaways from this session are: you've learned how to use the OR function in order to increase the vocabulary that you're retrieving in Artful Text. You've also used how to use the AND function in order to be more specific about what you're retrieving. And we've also looked at combining AND and OR and how to lay it out in the database so that you can make sure the database is prioritizing what you want to prioritize.